Hello, I'm Peter Spielberger, the patent holder and originator of all Hogue Holsters. Today, I want to talk to you about the epic issue gun with a light versus automatic retention holster. So, lean back and relax and enjoy. With your kind permission and for better understanding, let's start with an ordinary automatic retention holster for a handgun without any light. As you can see, the area around the trigger guard is fully covered, but the gun grip is totally accessible. Let me explain that in detail.
Very often I'm asked what's the most important part of the holster. The answer is simple, it's the gun. And the gun has two very important geometric points. It's the point below the trigger guard, near the grip, and on top of the back strap. If you cannot grip the gun in these areas, you don't have a safe grip on your gun. If you draw your gun out of the holster and you have to do a regrip, this brings you in a very, very weak position, something which just must not happen at all. In other words, these two areas must not be covered by any part of the holster. Another important feature of a holster is that the area which you see flashing in red needs to work like a seal. There must not be any gap between the holster body and the gun. The trigger guard needs to be fully covered so that nobody and nothing can get in between. At every public tender, this is common knowledge and normally a KO criteria. Nowadays, we very often find the situation that somebody wants to mount a tactical flashlight to his handgun.
And to make a safe holster for this kind of contraption is a real challenge. Due to the criteria I mentioned before, so far everybody failed, because all the lamps are far too big. Let's check out some holsters for a pistol with a flashlight. To give room for the lamp, the holster becomes bulky around the trigger guard. The result is an unsafe holster. Can one get his fingers into the holster and fire the gun? Yes. It is possible. And it happened some weeks ago. A kid at the schoolyard fired the gun of an officer in his holster. Here is the press release of the Sheriff's Department. Now back to the problem creating such issues.
Let's start with the holster we already know, where the gun is easy accessible, but we can get the finger into the holster. Now we improved that holster by adding material to the holster body. This is what you can see red here in the picture. At the back strap, the grip of the gun is very good accessible. The point at the trigger guard is narrowed to its absolute minimum. To get the finger into the holster, difficult but still somehow possible. For a keychain with, for example, a handcuff key, this is not a problem at all, and we know what that means. Something similar happened recently to an officer. It was not the handcuff key, it was the free arm of the handcuff. And this brought up another discussion about unsafe guns and or unsafe holsters. To make the holster safe, we need to add a lot more of material to the holster body, seen in red. Now the holster is quite safe because the red piece of plastic almost interferes with the grip. The result is the catch-22. The middle finger cannot get grip on the gun and gets into the position where the index finger of your shooting hand normally would be.
The conclusion? Back to the drawing board. Almost every week in the past, somebody showed up in my office and asked, "Can you make a holster for my gun with this lamp?" Yes, I can. But you have to sign for the product liability because it will result in an unsafe holster. This was then the end of the conversation, and no gun company and no individual wanted to take the responsibility. And some well-known holster companies do not want to take it either. So they put warnings into their manuals, which you can see here on the screen. Here the archaic principle kicks in. A solid body cannot be where another solid body already is. The problem is not the holster. The problem is the size and position of the lamp on the handgun. There is only one solution for this problem. The lamp must be a lot smaller in the area of the trigger guard. The common response to that, this is not possible. The college principal in my very young days used to say, for an educated technician, nothing is impossible, except putting a finger glove over a mitten and squeezing toothpaste back into the tube. Just try harder and never give up. With this in mind, and approaching the issue from the holster perspective, I started to work. Many months filled with humbling experience, and several patents later, we could finally come up with the solution we now call the LightALL. As I mentioned before, we approached the task from the standpoint of a safe holster. The holster you see here is not bulky at all, and the trigger guard is fully covered. There is no gap. It actually looks very much like a holster for a gun without the light, and even better, it works also with a gun without the light. But there is more to this holster. I will show you a little bit later. The LightALL first. It is the smallest and most lightweight tactical light for a handgun. That makes it easy to maneuver the gun for fast target aiming, and the trigger guard is almost fully exposed for those which want to have the second hand on the trigger guard. The switches are ambidextrous, and the red and the green laser are built in as an option. The light and laser combination is what you see is what you get field programmable. The multifocus lens array brightens up the scenery at almost any distance independently. That means the user will just see more. Will it enlighten the scenery for 1.5 hours? No. Our prototypes do it for 45 minutes. But there will be better batteries available in near future. Now let's be frank. This is not a flashlight for an old lady searching for her dog the whole night. The critical time to clear the situation with an aiming handgun might be 10 minutes. And you can charge the LightALL from any USB charging device in your car or on your desk. I promised that there is more to the holster in the field. Just holster the gun and the LightALL gets charged within the holster. It will automatically be switched off and everything is just fine. So the holster can charge the LightALL 2 times from 0 to full. 45 minutes of the LightALL plus 2 times full charge from the holster beats the set 1.5 hours totally. The holster power bank has its own USB-C port for being charged, and it can be connected to any kind of USB power supply. It will always charge the LightALL in the holster first, before it charges the power bank. So we could see mission accomplished. Sorry for bending your ears, and thank you for watching.